Good afternoon from the Bayer Learning Center at Gothenburg, Nebraska. I'm Mark Ryman, Learning Center agronomist, and today we're going to be visiting about corn silage response to seeding rate. I know that right now we're thinking about, getting planters running. We had some success over the past week at the Learning Center getting that done and on some trial work. But one of the considerations when it comes to planting silage corn is, what is the seeding rate? And we know it's a popular forage for animals. It's high in energy and digestibility, and you really want to maximize the tonnage as a key factor of what you do when you grow corn silage. I did get a question about, can I improve phosphorus removal by planting a higher density last year? And so we wanted to investigate that. So we looked at this trial to see, does using higher corn populations for silage help manage phosphorus in heavily manured soils? And the main objective, again, was really to determine the effect of seeding rate on irrigated corn for silage yield and phosphorus uptake. The study was, planted onto a silt loam. The previous crop was grain sorghum. We used strip tillage at the Learning Center. We set up the trial as a randomized complete block with 3 replications to get a good look at the data. We used a 108-day relative maturity corn product planted in 30-inch rows, and we utilized increments or increases of 4,000 seeds per acre, starting at 24,000, going all the way to 48,000 seeds per acre to give us 7 seeding rates in the trial. The corn was sprinkler irrigated, weeds were controlled as needed. We didn't add any extra fungicides or insecticides to the trial, except for what would have been on the seed treatment. One thing you will notice is that the planting date was 6/16/19. That was a little bit later than I would have liked it to be, but it was a trial that kind of came in on the back end of, the ideas that we had to work on for the year. And the harvest date was 10/11/19. At harvest, you can see that, the corn had a hard freeze basically the day before. Then we immediately harvested the silage. It was at about 50% milk line when it froze, so kind of that ideal time to chop the silage. We actually came in, and this is just kind of a look at it, with a weed eater, cut it off about 1 inch below or above the soil surface, or maybe 2 inches, and then we collected that sample, and we actually weighed the total biomass, and then we collected a subsample of the ears and the stover, and we dried it in our oven so that we could get a dry matter for each seeding rate. We then used a formula from Cornell University to calculate the total pounds of phosphorus removed. When we look at the results we got, the average silage dry matter yield increased significantly with increased seeding rates. So the lowest yield at 22 tons per acre at 65% moisture was a 24,000 seeds per acre rate. And then the highest yield was 26.7 tons per acre at the 48,000 seeds per acre seeding rate. So we had kind of a general increase as we went across and increased the seeding rate of the corn product. So the other thing we look at is when we increase the seeding rates and we increase the dry matter per acre, we also increase the phosphorus uptake and removal from that site. So we use the formula that about 0.55% of the dry matter was P2O5, and we took that removal from the soil here. So when we say phosphorus uptake or phosphorus removal by seeding rate, at 24,000 seeds per acre, we removed about 102.2 pounds of P2O5. And at 48,000 seeds per acre, we removed about 125.8 pounds per acre of P2O5. So a significant increase there as well. So the key learnings we got in this trial was that, in this study, using higher corn populations was beneficial for increasing tonnage as well as removing phosphorus from the soil. Producers can utilize, at least it was indicated by this study, that higher corn silage populations increase phosphorus removal and could help manage soil phosphorus levels on situations where maybe you've got a lot of manure being applied and it's something that you want to manage to prevent phosphorus loss or phosphorus runoff. And kind of the other piece of it is that monitoring crop phosphorus concentrations is really essential. We want to be able to balance feed rations accurately, estimate the crop phosphorus removal, and in turn, that's necessary for optimizing manure management and avoiding or mitigating phosphorus enrichment for the protection of water resources. So if we can increase the amount of phosphorus removal in harvested crops, we could help slow the rate at which soil test phosphorus increases and help reduce the level of soil phosphorus over time in general. So it was an interesting study. It's one that, we potentially in the future like to do more work on just to get a kind of a larger data set around it. But it was an interesting question that I received from a local farmer, and I wanted to take a look at it. We do get a lot of great ideas from farmers, from seed dealers, and people like that. So keep them coming. And thank you for listening. We'll visit with you later about more agronomic topics from the Gothenburg Learning Center.